Manchester United is facing Fulham today in a Premier League fixture, and as we prepare for this game, we're likely to see some surprises in United's lineup. Ruben Amorim has indicated right from the onset we're going to be seeing more of these surprises, in his own words, shocks. With the recent squad rotations, it's quite clear Amorim means every word he puts out there. Let's see if the likes of Onana are no longer safe for a starting 11. This Amorim's shocking approach might just be the spark or the gamble that defines our season. Let's dive into what's at stake here. Ruben Amorim's buzzword for his tenure at Manchester United has so far been shock for his player, and he could deliver one of the biggest ones versus Fulham. Be it through his lineup decisions, his comments after the games, or his dressing room outburst which Amorim later regretted, the Man United squad has been urged to shock themselves into action. It has had mixed results so far, but Amorim has continued to try and get the club out of the too comfortable stupor it has cocooned itself in. With Fulham up next in the Premier League, he can send his next big shock to the players since dropping Marcus Rashford from the first-team proceedings. After more than 2 months at Old Trafford, Amorim's first-choice 11 has a fairly settled look to it, and he hasn't been shy about letting people know about it. Some decisions have been loud and clear, like Rashford's exclusion, while Casemiro has been axed quietly, replaced by Collyer for now. There are clear untouchables in the squad, when fit in the form of Bruno Fernandes, Manuel Ugarte, Matthijs de Ligt, Harry Maguire, Lisandro Martinez, Noussair Mazraoui, and Diogo Dalot. However, one player who was thought to be an untouchable might be in for a shock when the United lineup versus Fulham drops. Andre Onana has had a terrible time of things recently, and unfortunately for him, that has coincided with Altay Bayindir finding his feet at the club. Bayindir started the Europa League game versus Rangers despite Onana playing the first 2 European fixtures under Amorim, which was a message in itself. However, rotation for Europe was at least a believable reason for the change. If the change happens in the Premier League, Onana's status as the undisputed number 1 will be well and truly over. It is a known fact that, unlike the outfielders, there is generally a clear hierarchy in the squad when it comes to the goalkeepers. Consistency is valued over anything else, which is why they are given a longer leash when they make mistakes or concede unforced goals. For Onana to be dropped for Bayindir, who before this season wasn't even getting a proper look-in from Erik ten Hag for non-Premier League competitions, would send shockwaves through the squad. Amorim has maintained that every player can force their way into the team if they train well and play well. This I strongly share in. But to extend that philosophy to goalkeepers would cement his meritocracy message. That call has never felt closer than in this game versus Fulham. Craven Cottage is the place to be for this week's Premier League finale, as Fulham and Manchester United square up to one another in a 7 p.m. Sunday kickoff. The capital clash is a repeat of the maiden match of the top-flight campaign, which the Red Devils won by 1-0. But the Cottagers have since built up a 7-point lead over us in the Premier League table. Marco Silva's men have solidified a top-half spot thanks to their 2-0 win over Leicester City last weekend, while Ruben Amorim's side were slain 3-1 at home by Brighton. However, Man United got back on track in the Europa League in midweek, surviving a late scare in a 2-1 win over Rangers, where Bruno Fernandes had the telling contribution in injury time. Manchester United must wait on the fitness of 3 defenders before taking on Fulham today. Noussair Mazraoui was left out of the matchday squad for the 2-1 win over Rangers in the Europa League as a precaution, after sustaining a knock during the Premier League loss to Brighton. Hopefully the Morocco international will be available for this game, but head coach Ruben Amorim was concerned that Matthijs de Ligt and Lenny Yoro were both experiencing some pain during the European tie. Both center-backs were withdrawn and will be assessed ahead of the Craven Cottage clash. While Victor Lindelof has resumed training, another defender, Luke Shaw, is not yet ready to make his comeback. There were 5 changes in total to the 11 for the Rangers match. Kobbie Mainoo and Manuel Ugarte were rested, but both came on in the second half, while Joshua Zirkzee was preferred to Rasmus Hojlund in attack. Alejandro Garnacho performed well, with Ahmad switching to more of a wing-back role again, while Toby Collyer and Christian Eriksen can be pleased with their displays too. Johnny Evans and Mason Mount are currently out due to injury. Meanwhile, the Cottagers may only have 2 players ruled out of the game. Kenny Teat, with knee issues, and Reece Nelson, thigh problem, appear to be unavailable for boss Marco Silva. Andreas Pereira could play against his former club, while Adama Traore came on as a halftime substitute for Alex Iwobi and scored in the 2-0 win against Ruud van Nistelrooy's Leicester City, last time out. Let's look at the lineup for today's game. Good news is, Manchester United centre-backs Matthijs de Ligt and Leny Yoro have both been declared fit enough to feature in Manchester United's squad for this game. Both players were seen arriving at a meeting point on Saturday afternoon, along with the rest of the squad, ahead of the team's journey to London by train from Stockport Station. The confirmed travelling squad members are as follows: Altay Bayindir, Tom Heaton, Diogo Dalot, Nusair Mazraoui, Matthijs de Ligt, Leny Yoro, Lisandro Martinez, Victor Lindelof, Tyrell Malacia, Manuel Ugarte, Christian Eriksen, Kobbie Mainoo, Bruno Fernandes, Alejandro Garnacho, Joshua Zirkzee, and Rasmus Hojlund. Notably, Andre Onana, Harry Maguire, and Ahmad were not seen at the meeting point, though they are expected to be part of the traveling party. As expected, Ruben Amorim will go for a 3-4-2-1 formation. Now the lineup. Altay Bayindir had another solid outing against Rangers in Europe, but we expect Andre Onana to get the nod in goal against Fulham. Onana made a high-profile error versus Brighton last weekend, but Amorim is expected to keep the faith in him for the league games. Harry Maguire should be reinstated into the starting 11 alongside Martinez. We would pick de Ligt to accompany the experienced pair. Leny Yoro has started a string of games, and he could be handled with more caution as he only returned from foot surgery last month. Nusair Mazraoui was left out of the squad against Rangers due to a possible muscle injury, but he has traveled for the Fulham game. Amorim may not risk him too. We expect Amad Diallo to continue from right wing-back with Diogo Dalot on the opposite end once more. Toby Collyer and Christian Eriksen were surprise picks in midfield versus Rangers, but the duo are likely to drop to the bench against Fulham. Manuel Ugarte and Kobbie Mainoo were handed a much-needed breather. The pair should reclaim their positions in the heart of the midfield. Bruno Fernandes is guaranteed his place in the number 10 role and could be partnered by Alejandro Garnacho, who was unlucky not to score in midweek. Joshua Zirkzee did not muster a single shot on target on Thursday. Rasmus Hojlund could be handed the opportunity to impress as the main striker this evening. What do you think? Share your thoughts on the lineup and predictions in the comments section below.